she won't be stopped. And I have to say, I'm here for it. I'm going to pick the dumbest comment that she's made yet. It's actually a lie. I can't find out I can't tell from the soundbite list which one it is. Can you guys roll the one, which is obviously the lie about which White House she's speaking for, which was told on Morning Joe today, because let's keep in mind that the name of her book is Independent. Give it to me again, Steve. Independent. And the Inside a Broken White House. Okay, so that's her title. A look inside a broken White House. Watch this.
Right here in the subhead is a broken White House. And if it's not questions about his health, what made it a broken White House?
So the broken White House is about this current moment.
Okay.
So I talk about the story of my personal side of the story of what happened and what I saw as White House press secretary. I think I can speak to it more in a different way, more personally even than most people.
So tell us what you saw day in and day out.
And so the broken White House is the White House that is currently in, obviously has the administration, the Trump administration, and what I'm seeing.
Do you believe that? She now wants us to believe that when she refers to a broken White House, she's talking about the Trump White House, even though the subtitle of the book is An Inside Look at It. Since when is she inside the Trump White House? This is an obvious lie to try to minimize the blowback she's getting from Team Blue for her inane book in which she says she's leaving the Democrat Party because she's so mad about what they did to poor Joe Biden. So now she's trying to distance herself from her printed criticisms of the Democrat Party by saying what she's really arguing is this current White House is the broken one. How she got inside, nobody knows, Stu.
Maybe she created a tunnel before she left and she climbed back in and saw all of these things from the inside. We don't know. We haven't read the book yet, Megyn.
She's like the Louvre bank robbers, or the Louvre robbers, right? She's got her ladder. She broke in some window. She's inside peering at Trump and Melania. I don't think so. She's not clever enough.
Apparently that's what it is. I don't know, because she was not inside the White House under Donald Trump. And of course, you're right. This is just another justification. And, it reminds us all of the Karine Jean-Pierre experience, which is she was uniquely
like it's a ride
bad at her
Disney.
job. Yeah, it is. It was. It was a very scary, terrifying ride. She's uniquely bad at the job that she held, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe there's something in our society she could do well. I can't identify what it would be, but there might be something that she could do. As a spokesperson, she is legitimately horrible at this job. I mean, you remember she was reading constantly every single note that she would say when she was speaking to the press anyway. And to see this now where she doesn't have those talking points, she can't read out of her own book, I suppose, when she's on the air. She's sort of like, she has to regress to just whatever thought pops into her head. And as we've seen, there's not a lot of those. There's not a lot to choose from. It gets generated by that brain. And so what she does, I think, is important to highlight what you hit at the beginning. She winds up just identifying herself, right? Like when she can't speak to the actual truth, she just says, I'm black. I'm LGBTQIA2+. Think of all the things, all the different ways that you can look at me and look at my behavior and identify. I'm a woman. It's all about how she identifies herself rather than the substance of what she's saying, because there's almost never substance in what she's saying.
It's like the sort of the comedy of force field, we're like, You can't touch me.
Yeah.
So she just starts out with the protective force field, black woman, and then she drops in queer, which, I mean, what the hell is that anyway? Queer's out. It's out. Even the kids are rejecting it now. We just saw that study that like the young kids on college campuses have rejected queer. Sorry. You're gonna have to go back to making the Q just questioning, which also doesn't deserve its own letter. It's really just LGB, all right? You're gonna have to pick one, Karine. It seems like L for you. For many reasons. But she's got to go with queer. Here's just one example. This is her on Morning Joe, another shot. 3.
And for me, as a black woman, as a person who's also LGBTQ, I feel as if those communities that I am part of largely get taken for granted. And I see that today in groups that are being thrown under the bus for a short-term win. And it is not the big tent party that I loved and enjoyed and was part of and fought for. And so for me, I want to start a conversation with how do we fix this? The system is indeed broken. The two-party system is not functioning in the way where our democracy is being protected right now. I feel as if the Democratic Party right now is too timid. They're not speaking up. We need to be, they need to have a strategy and be really clear about how they're moving forward in this moment.
No one knows what you are talking about. Even your leftist comrades have no clue. They want to give you the benefit of the doubt. They want to agree with you. No one knows what you are saying. Stu, let me give you another one. Similar messaging over here on The View. Everyone's confused. Here it is, Sat 2B.
There were 7 million people that showed up at the No Kings rally. It grew by millions from the first to the second to the third. Where's the Democratic Party in doing the same and peaceful protesting? Why are there not more lawsuits from the Democratic Party? They need to take action on behalf of the American people, the people who are fearful. And it's not throwing us under the bus. It's not throwing black women under the bus. It's not throwing the LGBTQ community under the bus. It's not throwing migrants and immigrants under the bus. It's saying, no, you know what? I just remembered, we are a big tent party. Right. And it is about your moral compass in this moment, not about politics. And you have to bring the country with you. And
oh my God, she's such an idiot.
2026, 2020. No, we need to focus on right now.
She's so dumb. She's clearly auditioning for a role on The View. She desperately wants it because, I mean, that is about her IQ class. And she accurately predicts she won't be getting hired anywhere else. But what do you mean can we just re-roll the beginning of that? Like, does she think the Republicans held the No Kings rallies? Let's just listen to the beginning of that one more time.
There were 7 million people that showed up at the No Kings rally. It grew by millions from the first to the second to the third. Where's the Democratic Party in doing the same and peaceful protesting? Why are there not more
What is she saying? Okay, that's it. We heard enough. Does she not know that was Democrats? Like, and then she keeps saying that they're throwing, now if she just stuck to they're throwing the trans community under the bus, well, I wouldn't understand that either because they're actually clinging on to the trans community like their lives depend on it. But there are some Dems, at least, like Bill Maher, saying we've got to move on from boys and girls sports. This is not a good issue for us and it's morally wrong, and stop with the transing of children. What her argument is that they've thrown black women in particular under the bus. Now, if she were making the case that they take black women and their vote for granted, I'll give her that. That's true. But how exactly have they thrown them under the bus? Like, her big thing seems to be, I'm leaving because they're throwing minorities and LGBTQ and women under the bus, and also because they're not having enough No Kings rallies like the Republicans do.
That was a really good attempt at a translation. I don't know if that's actually what she was going for. It was bizarre. I think my favorite part of the clip had to be the 4 people who clapped for her point, which there's like no one there's not a warm embrace as every other person who's on the left that comes onto the View. Whenever they say anything, they all clap. Like 4 people clap, and it's just awkward and silent. Her point doesn't make any sense, obviously. And when she's talking about, you mentioned her wanting to get a role in The View. What a perfect place for her intellect to settle. It is the perfect intellectual environment for Karine Jean-Pierre, who never says anything of value. There's nothing there of value. Her point, when she came out with the book title, The Independent Thing, there is an inherent theoretical interest in that type of moment, right? We've even seen people on the right who didn't like either, for various reasons, didn't like something that went on when they served in a previous administration. I mean, one of the people on The View has that backstory, right? And the left loved it. They ate it up. Oh my gosh, she was in the Trump administration. Now she's left the Trump administration. She's come to some new realization about the world. And that's, at some point, could theoretically be interesting to someone. If she was coming out and saying, gosh, we handled the Biden incoherence problem really poorly, and it was because of pressures here, there, and everywhere, maybe somebody, at least on the right, would be interested in what she's saying. Her independence point seems to be, part one, they were too mean to Joe Biden. Like, the media was too critical of Joe Biden. The party was too tough on him when they allowed this man to almost get this, to certainly get the nomination and almost be the candidate on the ballot for the presidency when he was completely incoherent. The last thing in the world they did.
Right. But of course, I know you're making your point there, but just to be clear to the for the audience, her point is they were too mean to Joe Biden in notwithstanding how competent he was, forcing him off the ticket. That's why she says she's leaving the Democrat Party, which makes no sense whatsoever, nor do any of her other points. She is also dishonestly defending the lack of mental acuity. The soundbite we played on AM Update today had her actually scoffing at Tim Miller on his leftist podcast. We have it. She's scoffing at the notion that Biden didn't speak to the press a lot and made no sense when he did. Look at this, Top 5.
We did have legislative wins.
Sure, and but he didn't talk about him that well, though. He couldn't talk about them. He wasn't campaigning.
No. Wait. First of all, he did talk about them. Whether it broke through or not, he did. Tim, he did talk about.
I mean, he talked way less to the press than Donald Trump does. Way less. And he wasn't out there at all. He wasn't good off the cuff. He wasn't doing press conferences. Let's just be real. Like, he didn't do paid events.
Tim, that's not
right
true.
on.
Tim, you're conflating all of it. That's what you're doing. No,
you're a liar.
First you're telling me he didn't talk well about it. Then you're telling me he didn't talk at all.
He didn't do either. He didn't talk very often, and when he did, it wasn't very good. He sounded very old.
You weren't paying attention to what we were doing at the White House. But
I paid attention. I'm with you on the policies. I'm talking about his performance.
The president spoke to the American people a couple times a week. He traveled and did domestic travel and talked directly to the American people.
He traveled. Okay. He traveled. She's such a liar. She actually wants us to accept her as, quote, an independent, like she's left the party system. Now she's going to be a hard truth teller, Stu. She can't even admit that. She actually wants us to believe that he was out there speaking to the American public regularly, dealing with the press, dealing with the people directly. And you can tell she's nervous and that she's lying because she won't shut up to let a friendly Tim Miller even make his points. She just tries to talk over him and shame him with the Tim, by the way, Karine Jean-Pierre, back off of the camera. All right. If you're going to be an independent media, you're going to need to understand, do not be on top of the camera. It's uncomfortable and awkward for everyone. For the love of God, buy gold and get free silver. That's right. For every $5,000 purchased from Birch Gold Group this month in advance of Veterans Day, they will send you a free patriotic silver round that commemorates the Gadsden and American flags. Look, gold is up over 40% since the beginning of this year, and Birch Gold can help you own it by converting an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Plus, they will send you free silver honoring our veterans on qualifying purchases. And if you are current or former military, Birch Gold has a special offer just for you. They are waiving custodial fees for the first year on investments of any amount. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider diversifying your savings into gold. Text MK to the number 989898 for a free info kit and to claim your eligibility for free silver, too, with qualifying purchase before the end of the month. Again, text MK to the number 989898. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.